folks, I'm Barry from editing here. So this is a bit of a different intro than usual because I recorded all this nice footage and didn't realize my mic was off until 35 minutes later. Oops. But if you make it to the end of the video, you can laugh with me at my own reaction. So I decided I'm going to do this video a little bit differently. Basically, this is going to be a little bit more like a speed build with my narration of what happened and what I was thinking while I was doing the build. I'll add in some fun emotes of mine for my intended expressions, and then we'll all have a really good time, right? Right? Right! If you do like the style of this video, though, let me know in the comments down below. I might end up doing more of these for the grindy parts of the game where I'll need a lot of materials. And if you're able, I would absolutely appreciate if you could like this video and then subscribe to my channel for more weekly gaming videos. Thanks for your attention, and now, back to the ARK. So I started out back here, and I decide at this point, we've just been chased by a Carnotaur, we've died at least 3 times at this point, and we need to actually get some armor, we need to get some shelter, it's time for us to actually find a place to settle. So I go around and I'm just gathering a bunch of materials to get us started. The fiber will help us make clothes, the berries will keep us sustained until we have a hunting source, and the wood and the thatch are going to be used for our construction wherever we decide to put our cute little first base. I realize at this point that it's sort of fruitless for me to attempt to go back and find my old tools and all the armor I'd made previously, so I'm making some nice cloth armor, at least to get us started, just so that way we can cover our booty up. Fine booty though it is, it needs some protection. I'm also gathering stone and flint to continue making my tools and my weapons, so that way I can at least try to defend myself at this point. And now we finally have our booty covered, got ourselves some extra clothes, feeling a little better. I'm also gonna make some more tools, gonna make a campfire, actually start to get us some form of establishment around here. So I decided to go on a little crafting expedition here. And we're gonna go up this hill and see if we can't find a little place to settle. And so far, this is looking pretty nice. We've got our water nearby. We have some defense in the form of these big rocks. We can also use it as vantage points. We can see pretty far down the beach in both directions, so we can see if anything big is coming. And it also, that gorgeous tree? Yeah, look at that. That's gonna be super cool to build under. I'm not sure we'll stay here permanently, to be honest. But it is a good starting point. It has good access to a lot of different things. So now we can actually, like, put down a bed so that way we have a permanent place to respawn. That way I don't keep having to randomly respawn. I'm also learning the S+ building materials here, just because it has a few extra options over the vanilla game that make it a little easier and also makes building a little simpler. Also learning some stuff like the mortar and pestle, which will allow us to make narcotics, which will allow us to tame dinosaurs, which is going to be critical to our advancement going forward. One of my biggest arguments for S+ by itself is honestly just the standing torch. It turns on automatically at nighttime, it doesn't consume any fuel, so you don't have to waste precious wood or thatch. There's some arguments for using extra wood on torches because you need to make a lot of charcoal for ammo later on. But personally, I like not having to worry about, do my torches have fuel? You know, can I navigate my way back? Because seeing the light of the torch after a terrifying experience in the jungle is huge. And I'm a big fan of standing torches, the S+ ones, specifically for that. So you can see here that I've started building, or at least figuring out kind of what I want to build. And all that means is a lot of wood and thatch to start out with. But now that we have all of our beginning materials, I'm going to speed this part up because this is just me crafting a bunch of foundations and setting those down. For a beginner home, I like to do a 2x2 because that gives me enough space to set down most of my beginner stuff and also still have room to move around. And I also, you'll notice that I'll also give it 2 walls high rather than just 1 wall high. Because I've noticed that there's a weird, like, I don't know, glitch, bug, or something where, like, placing or getting out of a bed is really annoying when it's only 1 ceiling high. So we're going to do 2 ceilings high and just give ourselves, you know, a little bit of a loft. You'll also see that I have some struggle, like, placing things in a very particular way. If you're playing in third person like me, I actually recommend scrolling back into first person when you're trying to place, because it actually makes building a lot more specific in that regard. I feel really silly watching this footage back knowing what I do now, because there's a part, like, where I struggle with the door coming up in a few minutes. Or, like, just a bit, I guess. I just am looking at it and being like, just go into first person. Just go into first person. So, you know, I'm giving you the tip so that way you don't have to suffer like I did. See, that was weird. Why did I have to, like, look up and down to make it work? I don't know. But that's ARK for you. So, that's my tip. But, you know, we got our cute little house. I'm enjoying the view as it comes together. ARK is such a pretty game. Like, look at that. Look at that freaking view. Anyway, we'll look at the view in a minute, I guess. But we also have a nice campfire. Now we can actually, like, cook our meat. That's going to be a lot better instead of berries. Even though I love me some berries, you know, it's in the name. But cooked meat is much more efficient, shall we say, at recovering health and stamina and just making your character less hungry. There we go. We got our nice little view going on here. But we're going to cover it all up completely so that way dinosaurs can't come in and wreck our butts. But overall, I think this is a pretty cute little starter base. It's, you know, nothing exciting, but we don't need it to do anything exciting right now. It's mostly just a place where we can feel a little safer, and we can store all of our shit without it getting destroyed in the overworld. I'm also picking up a couple of extra engrams, including our bow, stone arrows, and trank arrows. This is going to be the thing that allows us to get dinosaurs, because we can shoot them with the trank arrows and knock them out, and then we can feed them. Do not ask me why ARK's feeding mechanism is, punch it, or, you know, knock it out with tranks, and then feed it, and then it wakes up your friend. Pokemon rules, basically. Don't think too hard about it. But they're gonna be our friends, and that's what counts, right? Right. Okay, so we finally have an interior here. So I decided to putting down a storage box, finally. That feels really good. It's gonna take a minute, and it's gonna be a little weird. There we go. Perfect. Thank you, ARK. Much appreciated. Now we get to drop off our valuable stuff, like, you know, those berries and the metal, some extra fiber, all that good stuff. That's gonna feel really nice not to have that on our inventory where we could possibly lose it. Not that we've obviously ever lost anything before, except for the last episode. But, you know, it's okay. We're learning. That's what happens. This is gonna be fine. So I'm going to take some of the wood with me in case I need to repair my tools on the go, but I'm also going to leave wood there so that way if I need to harvest more later, I have an easier starting time with what I need to harvest. But I think it's time that we actually start using our cooking fire. So I think we're going to go out for a little bit of a hunt. So I got my spear. We're going to go see if there's something that isn't, you know, nearly as threatening. Unfortunately, that dodo is ripe for the pickings. I'm sorry, little guy. You just make it way too easy. Unfortunately, dodo exists. Easy form of hide and meat for Sunberry. Delicious. Tasty dodo dinner. And unfortunately, they're going to be some of our easiest offerings this early in the game. Because they can't fight back. They're just chickens. Poor dodos. And, okay. So it looks like I'm going to try and run up this beach, because we know death is on the other side, on that other beach. So we're going to go up this way and see if maybe we can't find something easy to hunt that we could get some more meat and hide with. Because hide is going to be the big thing. We need that to make our bed, so we can have a permanent sleeping spot and a place to respawn. You see a couple of dillos up ahead. Dillos are dealable. I definitely think they're velociraptors here, which is why I'm being a little more cautious than usual. And listen, can you blame me? We've had a rough time. We've had a very rough start. But we're doing our best. Also, hey, little moss chops, how's it going? Tinto berries? Why, we have those. Welcome to a team, buddy. So this is a moss chops. Moss chops is one of my favorite early tames. Look at him. He's such a good boy. He's so happy. By default, I have to name moss chops moss. I can't help myself. The nice thing about them is they do not require a saddle to ride, unlike a lot of other dinosaurs in ARK. So you could just jump on their backs and go on a little waddle. They're not, you know, the speediest, but that's okay. That's not what they're good for. What they're best at, actually, is harvesting stuff. They make pretty decent little guard dogs. If you put a couple points into melee damage, they can help defend your base a little bit, at least at the starting point. They could probably take a dillo and stuff on their own. But I prefer to have moss chops because they make harvesting fiber and berries incredibly easy, which is super handy early on, considering that narco berries are not always the easiest drops to get. So I love having my little buddy. He's not very fast, but he's doing his best. It's also nice because it means we don't have to use our hide resources early in order to make him a saddle, because we could just hop on his back, which is really handy. And so at this point, I try to bring Moss inside because I was just curious. I'm also testing this in case dinosaurs can walk into my house. I was just kind of curious if that's still a thing. But as you can see, Moss, he can't quite make it in. He's trying, but it's not working. So we're gonna leave him outside, but he'll be okay. As I said, moss traps are pretty good defending themselves, and at the very least, they can run from most things. He's trying. Nope. Yep. Nope. Okay. I tried to make him follow from the closest distance rather than a medium distance, and as you can see, that didn't work. So we're gonna go ahead and ride him back out of here. It's okay, buddy. We're beep, back it up. There we go. All right, that's the spirit. Okay, and then we leave him right next to the bushes, and I believe once he's not on fault, yeah, there he goes. Then he'll start auto-harvesting, and he'll just hold on to that stuff in his inventory. Other nice thing that I learned is that dino inventory lasts a little bit longer than human inventory, so if you need to keep things like meat or berries and stuff, it lasts longer in a dinosaur's inventory, which makes sense, because if you're keeping them fed with those things, like berries and meat, you need them to last longer. But it's also nice as an early storage device before you have a preserving bin, or a refrigerator or anything like that. And yeah, don't worry, we're getting to modern tools at some point in this playthrough. Like, we're actually going to have, like, assault rifles and refrigerators and all kinds of stuff. It's actually really handy when we get to that point, but for now, we begin. And we come back just a short while later, and ta-da! Magical, beautiful steaks. I'm replacing the thatch with wood, just so that way I can get some charcoal, because we need to start accumulating that early, if possible. But now we actually have real food! No longer just berries! Huzzah! Oh my god. Hey, listen, don't get me wrong, I love berries. Like, look at the branding, I love berries. But we needed nice actual steak. Alright, I gotta put some levels into Moss here, so that way Moss has a little bit better of an ability to help us out. He does this cute little happy dance, which I love. And then we sort out all of our berries. We want to make sure he has food in his inventory so that way he can feed himself. Luckily, dinosaurs will feed themselves as long as they have food in their actual inventories, which is always nice. That way you don't have to worry about it too much. At this point, now that we have our first dinosaur, we've got some food started, it's time to start looking at making a mortar and pestle, which is going to allow us to make narcotics. So at this point, I need to gather some hide and some stones. The hide is the tricky part. The stone isn't so bad. We've got a bed now, which, I'm going to struggle with placing here for a minute. Again, going into first person really helps with this problem, because you might see at this point, like, there's a little bitty green dot right there, and you can see that's where the bed is trying to place, because ARK is weird sometimes, even when you do the too high ceilings. So I'm just, doing the freaking Macarena over here, trying to get it to place. Eventually, it'll place. Eventually. I said eventually. And almost. Hey, it showed up, and it's gone. Okay. Hey, alright. Now we actually have a bed. There we go. I'm gonna go ahead and rename it the beach bed, so that way I know where I'm spawning in, because I imagine this will not be the only bed we make, but this is definitely the first, which is, an exciting moment in ARK history. We actually have a place to respawn. We don't have to rely on sleeping bags or just respawning in a random place anymore, which is really nice. Nighttime is still scary out here, but at this point you can see a little glowy guy in the back, and the RGBs are not a mistake. These are tech dinosaurs, TEK dinosaurs, and you can use them to get early metal, oil, electronics, and other important things for later on. So unfortunately for this parasaur, he's gonna turn into meat. Well, electronic meat. Electronic. You'll know what I mean. Well that took an embarrassingly long time, but now as you can see I'm getting electronics, element dust, oil, scrap metal, all of this stuff is going to be really helpful and actually gives us a nice healthy boost for this early on in the game. Especially the scrap metal, because we can turn that into metal ingots, which is easier to come by than regular ingots. As you can see, we've only got 4 regular metal ore. Sorry, I said ingots. I meant ore. But we can use a lot more scrap metal to make more. But now we need to make a refining forge and a smithy in order to actually use those things. But we're going to make sure that we stay well fed first, you know. Got to make sure you have the energy you need to do the tasks you need, including running from dinosaurs and all that goodness. Nighttime is finally almost over, and we didn't die! I love when that happens. Hell yeah! Also see we got a green drop coming down over there. We're gonna go get some water. Yes, thank you, game. I know I'm dehydrated. Thank you for the aggressive flashing. Much appreciated. I'm gonna swim around. Not seeing any big fishies, so looks like we're safe to continue drinking water from here. And before anyone asks, I know it's an ocean. It's still fresh water. It's because the Ark is all man-made, so don't think about it too hard. Video games. Alright, unfortunately another dodo walks into our path, and fortunately for us that means hide and more meat. So, haha. Delicious breakfast for me. A bad time for Mr. Dodo. At this point, I realize I have the hide and the ability to make my first water skin, so I don't have to keep running all the way back to the ocean. I did pick this spot for its proximity, but, you know, makes it a little easier. Also, considering what kind of building recipes we're gonna need, I really would like a spyglass at this point. Even though crystal is gonna be kind of annoying to get. I don't think I have any at this point, and getting to it, like, I know where it is on this map in particular, just because of the other playing that I've done with friends, but it's gonna be a little annoying to get there without any flying support or other dinos. I'm also going to go ahead and pick up all the wooden supports. I'll probably end up upgrading this base pretty soon to wood, just so that way it has a little more durability. I did increase the durability of structures in my solo play, just so that way I wouldn't have to worry about it as much. Also, I think it looks a little bit nicer personally, and it makes it look like we're a little more established. I'm also picking up the next upgrade for our armor, which will be hide materials, so hide shirt, pants, hat, etc. Also going to pick up some large walls, so that way we can make a dino pin at some point. Picking up gunpowder, which is what we're going to use the charcoal for. And at this point, I'm thinking we might want to try going for a trike for our first tame, because trikes are very utilitarian, especially early on. They can get a ton of thatch and wood and berries, which are all very critical at this time. Like, moss is great and all, but a trike would just be a heavier hitter. And also they're pretty good at defending themselves, which makes them a bit tricky to tame, but definitely a good first tame. But for now, we're going to go check out this green drop and see if maybe our supply drop can get us anything good. It doesn't look like it's down yet, but considering it spawned right on the beach, definitely happy about that one. Okay, you can see it all the way up in the sky. It's not coming down just yet. So, looks like we're going to have to go do a little bit more farming and resource gathering, which is always a necessity. So, we'll see what happens when it comes down. While we're waiting, I decided to make a primitive stone bow, get that and some narcotic arrows started, so that way I have options to tame. I'm looking very wistfully at that pterodactyl, but it's not time yet for that. We're not ready to take to this guy's just yet. Coming back to check on Moss, make sure Moss is okay. It looks like he's doing fine. I'm going to change him to neutral, so that way he can defend himself if something attacks him, but he doesn't automatically attack anything around him. You could set dinosaurs to a bunch of different behaviors, but I find neutral is the best, just so that way they have an option to defend themselves while I'm not around. And also, if I attack something, they're not immediately going to attack it along with me. At least, I'm pretty sure they don't. I usually set things on passive when I'm taming, just so that way we don't have any, let's say, unfortunate accidents. Looks like we've got a bunch of meat still going. We've also gathered a lot of wood. Probably need to go refill my water skin, because unfortunately they do leak this early on, so they don't keep the water, so you have to go refill them later. Now I'm going to do just a little bit more sorting. And it actually looks like I have my first mortar and pestle, which is really exciting. I'm going to put that down on the ground. It has to be on a foundation or a table. Tables are oddly expensive in ARK. It's like, I want to say it's like 100 wood and a bunch of stone ingots, which is going to be wild. So I decided to start getting the narcotics crafting. We got our narcotics berries, our narco berries, and we're going to add some spoiled meat whenever we have some. I haven't been keeping any on me, which is sort of silly at this point, but I'm still getting used to the idea of keeping the spoiled meat, and I've been cooking a lot of it just because I wanted, you know, some stability. And now I'm just going to do a little bit of extra sorting, make sure we're all ready to go out again. And we're going to go see what's in that green drop. Hopefully it's something good. And we're running down to the green drop. It's hit the ground. I'm keeping an eye out in the corner of my eye to make sure there's no carnivores that are going to sneak up and chomp my butt. So far it looks good. That Carno's a little ways down the beach, but you know what? He hasn't noticed us. So we're just going to take all this stuff with the transfer all and skedaddle. And we got a spyglass, baby. That is big time. That means we don't have to go crystal farming at all. That's going to make a whole heap and heck of difference. So that way we can see what danger is coming before it comes and chomps our butt directly. You know, nice to be able to see it from a distance rather than having to get up close and personal to see what the problem's going to be. That's going to be really helpful this early on. Whew, what a relief. Alright, now I'm resorting myself, figuring out what's around, and I am going to chomp on a couple of steaks here. There we go. Now we don't feel as hungry anymore. Love when that happens. Sometimes I wish I had real-life indicators of when I was hungry. And you might be thinking, but, you know, doesn't your stomach growl or something? And sometimes it doesn't. Anyway, we decided to equip our new spyglass so we can use that to keep an eye out for anything nearby. Maybe we'll take a look at that Carno and see if he's going to be a problem or not. We'll have to figure out if we can take him. He's going to be the big thing. Alright, we're going to hang out in here, figure out what we're crafting, because I crafted a bunch of arrows while we were waiting as well, including some trank arrows, so we have some options available to us, but we are limited by the amount of narcotics that we have made and or not made, really. I guess that's a better way of putting it. In order for us to get the narcotics we need, though, we mostly need spoiled meat, which unfortunately just takes time. We're going to have to leave meat in our inventory or in a dino's inventory and just let it spoil. So in the meantime, I decided to make some bolas so that way we can protect ourselves, or we can use it to trap things like the parasaurs. Become very easy to kill once you trap them with a bola and then just poke them, because they can't run off at that point. It's also a nice defense in case something like a raptor comes up and, you know, we don't want to die. Which, you know, I feel like will be helpful to remember. And, looking back on my past self making these decisions, oh boy. Will she remember? There goes the question of the century, friends and comrades. It's not looking great. But hey, I won't give away too much. At this point, I accidentally scared the piss out of myself because I saw an oviraptor, which are normally just running away, and I decided to use my new spyglass to go ahead and scout out the woods just to make sure. Only thing we see is that Carbonemus over there, which is basically just a turtle. But that raptor scared me so bad, I thought it was an actual, like, velociraptor, which are, you know, a little bit more threatening. Just a little bit. But I decided to go down the beach a little bit and take a look at that Carno that has been hanging around, and as you might remember from last episode, definitely chased our butts all the way down this beach. Which, I mean, kind of worked out for us, so thanks unintentionally, I think. But we're also just trying to make sure that he's not going to chomp us, so up to the high ground. Heh, I have the high ground, Anakin! Raptor. Never mind. I thought that was going to work, and it didn't. Let's see, where is he? There he is! Hello, friend! Level 38 male Carnotaurus. Oof. Not impossible, but a little scary for me this early on when I don't have a lot of advancements yet. And I'm not as cool. I'm also looking at to see how much it would take for a Carnotaurus saddle, and I'm pretty sure that's like a level 40-something. Yeah, I just looked it up, and it's 46 for my human character to even learn the recipe, and I am definitely not anywhere near that point. Like, I'm leveling up pretty quickly thanks to my boosts in the menu, but definitely not fast enough for that yet. Although, it would be awesome. I'm very heavily considering it. Is it a good idea? No, but I'm only level 21. But also, it's cool, and having a carnivore would make our chances a lot better, because then, you know, we would become the threat. Mwahaha. But after taking a look at the engrams I can actually learn, and not a Carnotaurus saddle, I decided it's time for us to make a refining forge and a smithy, which is going to be very important to our next upgrades. Luckily, Moss doesn't need any saddle because he's just sitting there being a good boy. Isn't that right, buddy? Yeah, you being a good boy? Yeah. I guarantee you I baby talk all of my dinosaurs. I guarantee it. But at this time, I want to thank y'all for sticking around for this episode. I know it's been a little bit of a weird one, but I appreciate y'all sticking around for this format. Let me know, if you liked this and you want to see more. Definitely leave a like, comment, and let me know what you thought of this episode style, and maybe what you thought of the shenanigans going on around here. I guarantee we're going to have some more exciting advanced crafting stuff, and we're definitely going to run into more scarier dinos next time. If you want to stick around till the end, you will also see the blooper in which I totally realized that I recorded all of that with no audio except for the game audio. So whoopsie doodles, all part of learning how to be a YouTuber. I really appreciate you sticking around. Feel free to like, subscribe if you want to see more variety gaming content. Expect more coming soon. See you next time, y'all, and take care. Oh no, this has been muted the whole time, hasn't it? Oh no. Oh no, that's very upsetting.